Hi boys and girls, and welcome to your Jolly Phonics lesson for today, Tuesday the 23rd of February. I'd like you first of all to have your books open, your Jolly Phonic grammar books, open on page 31, and in a while we'll also be looking at page 32. So today we're looking at something called adverbs. Now, previously to this we have learned about verbs, and that was just 2 weeks ago when we were learning about verbs in sentences and saying that a sentence cannot exist without a verb to make sense of the sentence. Can you remember what a verb is? And the hint is in the words that are underlined here below. Very good. A verb is an action word. So a word describing an action: singing, swimming, dancing, jumping. All of these are examples of action words, of verbs. So if we look down here in these sentences about my day, each of these sentences, although they are not complete, they each have a verb. So I wake, to wake is a verb. I stretch, stretch is an action. I get out of bed, get is the verb. I eat is a verb. I go, I work, I listen, I play, I speak, and I go again, but I'm going home this time. I watch, I wash, I go once more, but this time to bed. I sleep and I dream. So all of those are action words. They're all examples of verbs, and that's why I have underlined them here. So we've learned about them already, and also in school we will have learned this word, and I hope you can remember what it means. So the word adjective, adjective. And we used a lot of these when we were writing about our Halloween haunted houses. If you remember, adjectives are good. They are describing words, describing words. So you'll see that the beginning of adjective, add, and the word verb are in this word today, adverb. So an adverb is basically something that describes a verb. So a word that describes an action. A word that describes an action. So in this little poem that we're going to write together, well, you guys are going to write your own ones, but I'm going to give you lots of suggestions to help you, but each of your poems will be different. You're going to be writing in adverbs, words to describe these verbs: to wake, to stretch, to get out of bed, to eat, to go, to work, to listen, to play, to speak, and so on. So you're basically going to be saying, well, what way did you wake up in the morning? Or how did you stretch? Or how did you get out of bed? What way did you feel? What way did you eat your breakfast? What way did you go to school? When you were at school, what way did you work? Or how did you listen? How did you play in the yard? What way did you speak? So it makes all of these sentences so much more interesting. So we're going to take one of the verbs from this little poem about my day, and we're going to discuss some of the possible adverbs you could use for this verb. So we're going to take the verb to speak, because that one maybe is a little bit tricky. So what are the ways that you could describe how someone speaks? So I'll start off with 2 examples, and then you might want to pause the video and see, can you think of a few more yourselves? So, for example, you could say that someone speaks loudly. So I speak loudly. That's describing to the listener, to the reader, how the person is speaking. It's not just saying they speak or I speak, it's giving them an extra bit of information. What way do they speak, or what way do you speak? So loudly, or you could say, I speak softly. I speak softly. And that creates atmosphere when you're writing a story. If you said the little girl spoke softly, then that would sound more interesting than just saying the little girl spoke. Okay, I'd like you to pause the video now and have a think of a few more adverbs to describe the word or the verb to speak. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you did pause the video, and let's see if you thought of any other adverbs that I might be suggesting now that would go well with the verb to speak. So you could speak clearly. Was that one of the ones you guessed? Or maybe you could speak angrily. So if someone is speaking very angrily, you'd hear it in their tone. Or you could speak huskily if you have a little frog in your throat, which is a little bit like I have today. Huskily, so there's a little bit, it's not very clear, there's a little bit of a grating sound, would be huskily. Okay, let's look at some other adverbs that we could use for other verbs. How could you wake in the morning? So you could wake up, well, you could wake slowly. Maybe it takes you a while to wake up in the morning. You could wake up happily. Maybe you like waking up. You could then stretch after you wake up. What way could you stretch in the morning? You could stretch widely, or you could stretch slowly. Oh, we already have slowly. You could stretch carefully, perhaps. Stretch is a tricky one to think of an adverb for. You could stretch quietly, so no one can hear you. You're not making a big yawning sound. You could stretch calmly in the morning. What way might you get out of bed? Are you going to get out of bed cheerfully? Are you happy to get out of bed? We have happily already. Or you might get out of bed grumpily. Maybe you're a grump in the morning and you don't want to be getting out of bed. You could get out of bed. You can describe the motion of getting out of bed. It could be slowly. You could get out of bed carefully. You could use a lot of those adverbs that we already have, actually. You could say quietly, I gotta get out of bed calmly. So any variation of those is fine. How do you eat your breakfast? So you could say, I eat my breakfast quickly. You can, if you've noticed actually already, all of these adverbs end in the same suffix, which is ly, loudly, softly, clearly, angrily, huskily, and so on. But actually there are some adverbs that don't end in ly. You could say like fast. So I eat my breakfast fast. You wouldn't say I eat my breakfast fastly. You could say I eat my breakfast quickly. The same with if you were saying about speak, I speak fast, or you don't say I speak fastly. Or you can use the adverb well for things. For example, I work well in school. So that doesn't have an ly at the end of it. Now, what way would you go to school? So you, as we said, you could say you go happily to school. You go to school gleefully is another way of saying happily. Gleefully. Maybe you go to school sadly. Hopefully not, though. But that's up to you to decide. I listen. How do you listen at school? You can listen to someone very closely or carefully. We have carefully already. You can listen intently. Means you're really listening for detail, or attentively is a good one for listening. You could say I listen badly, I suppose. There's nothing to say that, but that wouldn't make you sound very attentive. I play in the yard. How could you play? I play fairly. Or I play, you could say gently with my friends. Or I play noisily. Maybe you're very noisy. Let me think. Oh, I eat my breakfast. Another good one for that. If you're really, really hungry, you could say I eat my breakfast ravenously. So if to be ravenous is you're starving, it means you're eating it really, really quickly. I work, you could say I work well in school, I work happily, I work quietly, I work neatly. We don't have that one written, I'll put it up here. Oops. Neatly. It's another one. So we said how you listen, how you play, and we have already how you speak. Loudly, softly, clearly, angrily, huskily, and any others you can think of. What way do you go home from school? Do you go home from school sadly or despondently, or maybe you go home gleefully or cheerfully? So they're words we already came up with. Quickly, I watch television. How do you watch television? Maybe you watch television excitedly, or maybe you go home from school excitedly. How do you wash yourself before bed? You might wash yourself thoroughly, which means like really, really well, from top to toe. How do you go to sleep? Do you find it easy to go to sleep, or go to bed? Do you go to bed? Are you happy to go to bed? Maybe you go to bed lazily. Maybe you go to bed wearily. Wearily means like you're really tired and worn out. Maybe you go to bed reluctantly. Reluctantly is a good one, because reluctantly means you really don't want to go to bed, and you can use reluctantly for lots of those things. You could say, maybe I work reluctantly at school, or I go to school reluctantly when you wish it was a Saturday. I sleep. What way could you sleep? If you sleep well, you can say I sleep well. I sleep happily. I sleep quietly. I sleep soundly. So nice and soundly means you sleep really, really well without disturbance. How could you dream? I dream. You could say I dream happily. I dream calmly. They're all words we came up with already. Or you could say I dream sweetly. You have sweet dreams. Or you could say I dream vividly. If you're dreaming vividly, you have a very strong recollection of the dream. You remember it. It's very clear. It's nearly like it's really happening. So I'd like you to look through those adverbs, and if you have any extras of your own, and I'd like you to put them into the variety of lines throughout this poem. And I would like if you didn't repeat any of the adverbs. So don't say I wake slowly, I stretch slowly, I get out of bed slowly, I eat my breakfast slowly. Use different ones. I wake quietly, I stretch widely, I get out of bed slowly, I eat my breakfast ravenously. I go to school happily, I work neatly, I listen attentively, I play fairly, I speak loudly, or I speak clearly. So use different ones for each line, and I'm really interested to see what you come up with. And then at the bottom it says illustrate 2 lines from the poem. So that means illustrate to draw. So take any 2 lines you want, write them beneath these blank picture boxes, and then draw a picture of that particular line. So you could draw I sleep soundly, you could draw yourself asleep, or you could draw yourself maybe watching television excitedly, but be sure to show in the picture the adverb that you have used in the sentence. Okay, so you can pause this at any stage if you want to see the spellings of any of those adverbs, and as I say, I look forward to seeing your work. Okay, now we'll quickly have a look at page 32, which is the O sound for this week. And O sound comes in the form of OA, OW, or magic E, making O say its name. So remember, first 2 words have nothing to do with the sound. They're just words easily sounded out, such and luck. And 15 and 16 are just your number words for the week. So these words are home, H-O-M-E, that's the magic E word. Froze, F-R-O-Z-E. They're both the same, magic E making O say its name. Foal, which is a baby horse. Stone, there's another magic E word. Toast in the morning, T-O-A-S-T. And snowball, where O is not saying ow, it's saying O, the O sound, the long O sound. Okay, so you can fill those in and then read these words and circle which one you think is correctly spelled. Broke, 1, 2, or 3. 3. Toad, blow, nose, coast, and elbow. I want to see what you guess yourselves. Then don't forget to fill in 15 and 16 at the side, and pick the correct words from the top list for these sentences. A something is a baby horse. They ate buttered something. I went something after school, and we had a something fight. And then in these sentences, you underline the verbs. So sings, dresses, plays, cut. And you write an adverb to describe these verbs, like singing sweetly, dressing well, playing happily,